Welcome to the west side of Grand Cayman. We're out here on a dive boat called Juggernaut with my favorite dive company, Ambassador Divers. And today I want to talk to you guys about lighting your scene underwater. Now, if you're an underwater photographer or a videographer, you basically have three options to light your scene in the sea. The first one is going to be ambient light or natural light, and that's the one that I always prefer. So what a lot of people don't understand is that when you're diving and you're taking images, whether it's still images or video, what you're trying to recreate is that natural feel of the water. And the ambient light is always going to be your best option. Now, here in the Cayman Islands, where we have 100-foot plus visibility, we've got a lot of sun typically out during the daytime. In the early morning light, in the early morning hours, the light's nice and soft. In the late hours of the day, the light's nice and soft. It gets a little bit harsh sort of midday, but that ambient light or that natural light is always going to be your best option for me for underwater photography. Now, that means a good custom white balance. That means typically an open aperture. That means maybe a little bit of a slower shutter speed or maybe a little bit more ISO. But with the combination of those four things, you can pretty much always get a good shot. Now, if you're diving in an area where there's less light, or maybe you just want a different feel to your images, you basically have two other options. You have continuous lighting, or you have strobe photography. Now, what we have here is a good example of both. Now, I have our Panasonic GH4, which is our chase camera, and then I've got my go-to stills / video camera, which is my Canon 5D Mark IV. Now, typically when I'm shooting video underwater, I will be always shooting either ambient light or continuous lighting. Now, what we have here on my Panasonic GH4 are a set of Kelvin modular lights. These are the Luna 8s, and these are super bright lights. Now, the great thing about these continuous lights, or these Kelvin lights, they're very bright, and when run in conjunction with a custom white balance or even an auto white balance, you can get a great image. Now, it's not to say that you don't only use continuous lighting on video cameras. You can also use them on still cameras. And a great example of that is for you GoPro shooters out there. Now, GoPros obviously take a pretty good little video image, but they also take stills. And you cannot use a strobe flash on a GoPro. There's no way to sync it up. So for you GoPro shooters out there, you're always going to want to use either ambient light or continuous lighting. Now let's jump over to the DSLR. This rig, we can use any of them. So my go-to light source is always going to be ambient light because I like the natural feel of the water. I like the beautiful tones that we get from Mother Nature's light. Now, if Mother Nature doesn't give me enough light for that day, what I can do is I can add in my continuous lighting for video or continuous lighting for photos. And now there's an advantage for using continuous light for photos in that I can use my maximum frame rate on my camera and just fire, and I don't have to keep up with the recycle rate of my strobes. Okay, continuous lighting, it's always on. So what I'll typically do is I will custom white balance my continuous lights to my camera, and then I'll just shoot away. Now, if that doesn't work and I'm going for that really dark blue background and that scuba magazine glossy style image, then I'm definitely going to go with these strobes. So these strobes that I shoot are CNC YSD2 strobes. Now, they have a guide rating of 32. They're very bright, they're very powerful strobes, and the way they work is they work in conjunction with the camera inside the housing. So you can either shoot underwater strobes in TTL mode, which means that your camera is metering the ambient light and telling your strobes how much light to fill in, or you can shoot them in manual mode, and that's the way I shoot my strobes. So I'm basically setting up my manual settings in my camera, and then I take my shot, and then I adjust my strobes accordingly. So if I need more light, I turn the strobes up, or I make another manual adjustment inside my camera. I hope these tips help you guys get amazing underwater images. For more videos like this, please be sure to like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram. I'm Cayman Jason. This is the way I see it.